Hi guys, I'm Cordy and I want to do a little bit of doodling with you today. So a doodle for me is kind of a stream of consciousness drawing. You pick a theme and then you just draw whatever comes to mind. So for this doodle, I will pick the theme of autumn, or if you're in a different part of the world, it will be called fall. Now, I also like to pick a little character. So for this one, I picked the hedgehog. The hedgehog always hides underneath leaf piles, and I thought we can have lots of fun with it. So we're going to need a pencil, a fine liner, an eraser. You don't have to use the pen-shaped eraser. It just comes in really handy when you have to erase really tiny, small things. So we're going to do a negative space doodle, which means we're going to come up with a shape first and doodle around it. So I am going to draw a leaf shape. It doesn't have to be a very complex one. I just like star-shaped leaves. So I'm going to pick one here that is a little bit shaped like a star. I think it's an acorn leaf, but I'm not 100% sure. So here we go, just outlining it with the pencil so we can draw all the doodles around it. So here's my little friend, my little hedgehog friend. I'm going to use him as a model to draw some of the character inspired pieces of the doodle. So I thought the first one I'm going to draw is the little hedgehog peeking out from a pile of leaves. So here's the head, and then just randomly drawing some leaves. Leaves come in all kinds of shapes. Some have round corners, some have pointy corners, some are heart-shaped. So whatever you like, you can use. I'm using a mix of all of them, just filling that space underneath the hedgehog head. And usually I draw 3 to 4 sort of character inspired doodles, and then I fill in the spaces in between those character inspired ones. So this is our first one, just using super simple shapes to draw the hedgehog. Keeping the shapes quite simple is a great idea for those doodles, otherwise it gets too busy. So this is the first one here. Now down here, I'm going to draw another one. Autumn is the time where it gets really cold, so I want to draw our little hedgehog nice and cuddled up with a cup of steaming tea. That's at least what I like to do. I like to cuddle up with some tea or coffee or even hot chocolate and a blanket, and then sit and doodle in my sketchbook. The nice thing about creating a doodle is that you can just stop at any time and pick it up whenever you feel like it, just using the theme that you started out with, and just continue when you've got new inspiration, when you're running out of ideas. Now, just to let you know, I do look stuff up. For example, when I come up with something that is fitting with the doodle theme and I don't quite know how to draw it, I go find a picture, a reference picture, or maybe I go into the kitchen and find the apple. So it doesn't all just come from imagination. So here we go. This is a candle, one of those nice scented ones for our little hedgehog, for his little cozy corner. He's wrapped up in a scarf. And we're going to add some books because it's nice to sit and be cuddled up in autumn and maybe read a book if you don't feel like drawing. Or if you're looking for new inspiration, reading always helps me to come up with new ideas or just simply things that I could draw. So this is number 2, and now we're going to do number 3. Number 3, I'm shooting for a hedgehog lounging on a mushroom. So just a simple mushroom shape framed with a bit of grass. And hedgehogs, I did look up some pictures of hedgehogs online, and they have this really cute ability to sort of cuddle themselves up in their outer pokey shell. So I was imagining the hedgehog just sitting on top of that mushroom, all sort of wrapped up, just with his little feet dangling out. So I hope you can see that. And I'm adding some dots onto the mushroom. I know that's poisonous one, but I think it's just nice for the doodle, and it kind of fits nicely. So a little bit more grass. And then a last one. Little hedgehogs get cheeky and hungry. So I thought it would be fun to draw our hedgehog stealing some apples. Apples grow at different times in the year. I like the ones that grow in autumn the best. But yeah, you can try and test which ones you like best. So here's the apple right on top of our hedgehog. And then I'm going to continue filling in the spaces in between those sort of character scenes. Now, I was thinking our hedgehog is sitting there all happy with his cup of tea. He needs some snacks. So I figured it would be fun to draw some walnuts. Walnuts are growing in autumn as well. And they're actually really cool shapes, especially the inside, the walnut itself. I think I might just do a video just drawing a close-up of a walnut. It's a really, really cool shape. So I quite enjoyed researching that. Now, something else that is very typical for fall are conkers, or maybe you know them as chestnuts. They fall from the trees, and they are really cool looking when they're in their shell. The shell is kind of like a fuzzy green ball. So I decided to fill in the spaces between our characters, drawing some conkers, and also a leaf of the tree, which is very pretty. And next up, I'm gonna add some more apples around our hedgehog, because you know there has to be a space where he stole them from. And he's ready to take them back to his little hedgehog nest. So drawing some grass around him. And then another thing that reminds me of autumn are sunflowers. So I'm just going to add some sunflowers here. Again, make sure to keep it super simple. In the end, what looks cool is the collection of it all. So the more simple you keep the shapes, the better. The easier it is then later for the eye to see. Now here in this corner between those two character drawings, I want to draw some pine cones. And pine cones are quite tricky to draw, but I kind of figured it out. What you have to do is you have to start out with little triangles at the bottom, and then they're very close together. And then as you move up, make bigger triangles, but then leave the pointy bit out and make them further apart. And then at the very end, just draw lines from either side of the shapes down towards the middle, and then it looks like a pine cone. Now, another thing that falls from the sky or from the trees in fall are acorns, and they have a funky shape as well. It's like this little cup with a pointy little nut inside, so I'm going to add some of these as well. And the leaves look very pretty too. They're all rounded shapes as opposed to pointy leaves. And then another thing that reminds me of fall is corn, and especially the purple corn, the ones with the darker kernels. So I'm going to add a couple of corn cobs. Now next up are these funny maple tree seeds. I think they're also called helicopters, and because they sort of turn when you let them go and let them fall to the ground. So I thought that's really cool to add those in. And obviously we need some pumpkins, because it's not fall or not autumn without pumpkins. Now I'm definitely gonna do a video on Halloween. That will be a separate one, because I really love Halloween and I love drawing skeletons and monsters. So that's going to be up next for sure. Now adding a couple of more leaves in, and here it is, our autumn doodle. And adding some fine liner, it looks a little bit more crisp, and I promised I'll show you my color version. So here is the color version that I created. I used marker, and for The middle bit, I used pencil for some shading. So I hope you had fun. You can hop on over to Skillshare for some more classes with me. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and head on over to my channel to subscribe. Stay creative and keep drawing. See you soon. Bye!